Hi guys, this is January 2022 2HR. So a tin contains tea bags, choice of 4 different flavors. Sarah takes at random a tea from the bag. The table shows the probabilities. Work out the probability that the flavor of the tea Sarah takes is nilgiri. Okay, easy start guys. These 4 probabilities have to add up to 1. So 0.38 plus 0.24 plus, let's call this P for probability, plus P plus 0.16 equals 1. And add these all up. Use your calculator if you want. This is 62, 72, 78. 1 minus 78 or 0.78 is 0.22. So P is equal to 0.22. Okay. Work out the probability that the flavor of the tea Sarah takes is either this Darjeeling or Rees. Sorry guys, I don't know how to pronounce these things. Okay, so this or this, well, we just add them. It's just 0.24 plus 0.16 gives us 0.4. So this is 0.4. Okay, question 2. Mary saves for a holiday. In 2020, she saves a total of this. In 2021, she saves a total of, each month she saved this. The total amount she saved in 2021 was P% more than what she saved in 2020. Okay, so firstly, let's do 2021. In 2021, she saved $78 every month. So I'm going to times it by 12, and that is 78 times 12 is 936. So she saved how much more in 2021? Well, 936 minus 720 is equal to 216. So she saved $216 more in 2021 than she did in 2020. As a percentage, we'll do 216 out of 720 times 100. That will give me the increase as a percentage, if you like. So that is 216 over 720 times 100 is 30. This is 30. So the answer is 30. That's 4 marks. Okay, Roberto is going to go on holiday. He has 2 coupons that will save him money on his holiday. Coupon A and coupon B. This is 18% off the cost of the accommodation. This is 12.5% off the cost of the accommodation and the cost of the flights, right? For his holiday, the cost of the accommodation is this, the cost of the flights is this. He can only use one of the 2 coupons. He wants to save as much as possible. Which coupon should he save? Okay, let's look at A. Coupon A. This is 18% off accommodation. So I'm going to do accommodation 1600. To decrease by 18%, the easiest thing is to multiply by 0.82. 82 because 100 minus 18 is 82. And this is 1600 times 0.82, 1312. That's coupon A. But he also has to pay for all the flights. So I do 1, let's just do total. Total is 1312 plus the flights, which is 800. This is 2112. Coupon B, he gets 12.5% off the total cost of accommodation and flight. So the total cost is 1600 plus 800, which is 2400, and he gets 12.5% off this. I'm going to do 2400 times 100 minus 12.5, guys, is 87.5. Use your calculator if you want, but that's where I'm going to multiply this by 0.875, and that gives me 2400 times 0.875, 2100. Okay, that's the total cost using coupon B. Which coupon should you use? Well, definitely coupon B, because this is less than this. Therefore, coupon B as 2100 is less than 2112. So it basically saves $12 by using this one. Okay, question 3. Inequality, guys, you can solve this just like an equation. Subtract, leave the sign going the same way. Subtract 5 from 12, divide by 4. So it's just y is greater than 7/4. Solve this. First step, multiply across by 2. That gets rid of the fraction. 2 times 6x minus 5 equals 4x minus 7. Multiply out 12x minus 10 equals 4x minus 7. Subtract the 4x, get all the x's on the left and all the numbers on the right. Add the 10. 12 minus 4 is 8, so this is 8x. Minus 7 plus 10 is 3. X is equal to 3/8. X is equal to 3/8. Question 4. The diagram shows a regular octagon and a regular pentagon. Okay, guys, when I see, and this is find x, right? But when I see the words regular, anything, I'm happy because I can go straight to exterior angle. So the exterior angle is only kind of useful when it's a regular shape. So this is 360. To get the exterior angle, we do 360 divided by the number of sides, which in this case is 8. That gives me 45. This angle is 45. Great. When I have the exterior, I can get the interior. This is 135. I just take that from 180. Similarly, the exterior angle here is 360 divided by 5. 360 divided by 5, because it's a 5-sided shape, a pentagon, is 72. So this is 72, which means this is 108 there. Okay, now that's 108, that's 108, that's 108, this is 108. Okay, so this is 108. Now we said that the exterior or the interior angle of the octagon is 135. So this, if this is 135 and this is 135, then this whole angle here is 135, which makes this smaller angle here, this one, is 135 minus 108, which is 27. There we go. That's 27. Okay, now the last bit of this, guys, is tricky because I don't know what's going on here. I can't figure out this angle, I need another bit of information. And when I looked at this question first, I was like, not sure I actually know how to do it. But then I saw something. There's a hidden piece of information here that it took me a while to see. And it is that, look, the side of the pentagon is the same length as the side of the octagon. This side here. This side here, it's a side of the pentagon and it's a side of the octagon. And because it's regular, they're all the same. So this side is the same as this side, which is the same as this side, and more importantly, is the same as this side. So this triangle here is actually an equilateral triangle, which means this angle here, this x, and this angle are the same thing. And that's the key to this question, guys, because now I can actually say this is x, but this is x too. So 2x, x plus 27, because it's a triangle, these three angles have to add up to, x plus 27 have to add up to 180. 2x equals 180 minus 27, which is 153, and then x is 153 divided by 2, which is 76.5. So x is 76.5. That is not an easy question, guys. 4 marks. 76.5. Question 5. Shane invests $7,200 for 3 years. He gets this much interest. How much will he have in his... Okay, that is a nice easy question, guys. If you know the formula, it's 7,200 times 1.025, 0.25 because it's 2.5%, to the power of 3 because it's 3 years. And this is going to be 7,200 times 1.025 to the power of 3, which is 7753.61. 7753.61. He says to the nearest dollar 7754 because we round up because it's 61. Okay. Question 6. Write down the value of x to the power of 0. Right, this is easy, guys. Anything to the power of 0 is 1. If you're not sure, put it in your calculator. Do 10 to the power of 0 and you get 1. Part B. Given this, find the value of n. Okay, guys, this students often find it confusing when they see an n. Forget the n. It's just 2 to the minus 3 times 2 to the power of 9 is equal to 2 to the power of minus 3 plus 9, which is 6. 2 to the power of 6. So what's n? 6. That's it. Next one. Okay, given this, find the value of m. So again, guys, they've used massive numbers. 7 to the power of 206 is a massive number to prevent you using your calculator. Your calculator cannot deal with this. So this times this divided by this equals this. Okay, if I just look at the powers, guys, because we're multiplying the top, that means I add the powers. So I can say 7 to the power of 206 plus m over 7 to the power of 214 is equal to 7 to the power of, now we're going to subtract the powers. Okay, so we add these two and subtract this one, so it's actually equal to 2 plus m, because I do, oh sorry, it's not 2, I thought it was 16. It's 206 minus 214, which is minus 8 plus m. Okay, so this left-hand side is 7 to the minus 8 plus m, and the right-hand side is 7 to the power of minus 3. That means minus 8 plus m has to equal minus 3 or negative 3, which means m is negative 3 plus 8, which is 5. So m is 5. Okay, that's question 6. Question 7. Write down the equation of the line with gradient minus 3, which passes through this point. Right, this is easy, guys. If you remember, y equals mx plus c, that's the equation of the line. Our m, which is the gradient, is negative 3. He tells us. So it's minus 3x. Our c is 5, because 0, 5 means it crosses the y-axis at 5, so that's minus 3x plus 5. Okay, part B. Show by shading on the grid the region defined by all 3 inequalities. Okay, so we have to draw, guys. We have to draw x equals 6. We're going to draw x equals 6. We're going to draw, I'll choose different colors. We're going to draw y equals 2. And we're going to draw y equals x plus 1. Okay. Y equals 6, we should be able to do. We go to y, we go to 6, and we draw a cross. It's a horizontal line. This is y equals 6. Then we draw y equals 2. Sorry, I've just done that the wrong way around. Sorry, guys. It's not that easy. Sorry, x equals 6. So I go to x is equal to 6. Wrong color. X equals 6 is here. Draw a line up. This is x equals 6. Then I draw y equals 2. Go to y, go to 2, draw a line across. Y equals 2. And then I'm going to draw y equals x plus 1. Now guys, you can use your calculator, get the table and draw the line if you're not sure how to do this. I am sure how to do it, so I'm going to do it myself. Y equals x plus 1. Its y-intercept is 1 here, and its gradient is 1, so it just goes like that. Straight, it's one box up for one box across because the scale is the same. If in doubt, just use your calculator or do the trick where you let x equal 0, y equals 1, let x equal 8, y equals 9, 8 plus 1. Just pick 2 points and join them up. Okay. Then we go, right, x has to be less than or equal to 6. So it's going to be left of this line, less than 6. Y is going to be greater or equal to 2. So it's going to be above 2. And this one, which is always the one that's a bit harder, we say y has to be less than or equal to x plus 1. Now generally, if it's y is less than, it's below, but you always have to be careful. So you just sub in a point, sub in any point, pick an easy one, but let's go with 1, 1. If you sub 1, 1 into this inequality, what do you get? Well, you get 1 is less than or equal to 1 plus 1. 1 is less than or equal to 2. Is that correct? Yes. Where's the point 1, 1? It's down here. So that means it's this side of the line. It's this side. Because 1, 1 was down here, so it's down this side of the line. So it's above this, left of this, and down here. Where's the region? Or, well, it's obviously here. Okay, that is part B. Question 8. Scientist is investing the weight of 50 tigers. The mean weight of all 50 tigers is this. Work out the mean weight of Bengal tigers. Okay, so 22 Siberian tigers. Let's pretend they all weigh 260, because that will give me the total weight of Siberian tigers. 22 times 260 is 22 times 260, 5720. So this is the total weight, 5720, the total weight of the Siberian tigers. Okay. The total weight of, let's call this X. The total weight of the Bengal tigers is 28 times X, or 28X. So that means the total weight of all the tigers is 5720 plus 28x. That's the total weight of both. Then we say, well, to get the mean, we do the total weight of all the tigers divided by the 50, because there's 50 tigers, and he tells us this is 218. So now we have our equation and we just need to solve this. How do I solve it? Multiply by 50. So 5720 plus 28x equals 218 times 50. 218 times 50. 10900. Then I'm going to subtract 5720 minus 5720. 55180, and finally I divide by 28. Divide by 28 and I get 185, which is correct. So x is equal to 185. So this is the mean weight of the Bengal tigers, 185 kg. Okay, question 9. In the diagram, ABC is a right angle triangle. Okay, so straight away, guys, I'm thinking Pythagoras and I'm thinking SOHCAHTOA. DEF is a semicircle. Fine. These are given. It says work out the length of AFEDC. Okay, so let me just show you what I'm thinking, guys. What I'm thinking is I'll get this length here. Let's call that length X. Then I'm going to take away, let's take away this length here. This length here is 6, because I'll take away 6. That is because the radius is 3. So if the radius is 3, the diameter is 6. So I'm going to take away 6, and then I'll add on. So that'll give me this bit and this bit, and then I'll add on the semicircle, the circumference, or half the circumference of the circle, which is that. So this bit plus this bit plus this bit will give me the length that they're looking for. So first let's find this X, this AC. So AC equals X. So it is a right angle triangle. As I said, we're going to use Pythagoras or SOHCAHTOA. I don't have another length, so it has to be SOHCAHTOA. It's going to be K, because of the adjacent and the hypotenuse is what I want. I'm going to say the cos of 30 is equal to adjacent 24 over X. Okay, then I multiply across. Just be careful here, guys. I do X equals, I multiply across by X, and I divide by cos 30. I'm going to do this in one go. You can do that in 2 steps if you're not sure, guys, but X is equal to this divided by this. Be careful. 25 divided by cos of 30, 24 divided by cos 30 equals, guys, I forgot to close the bracket. Always close your bracket. Is 16 root 3, or 27.713. 27.713. Just put enough decimal places. Okay, so that's that length. Now I'm going to do 27.713 minus 6, which is 21.713. Now that gives me this length and this length. Okay, then I need to get the pink length. The pink length, let's just put it in pink, semicircle. The length of the semicircle is, the circumference, guys, is, circumference of a circle is 2 pi r, which means half the circumference is pi r, because I just divide by 2. So the semicircle is 2 r, which is 2 times 3, because the radius is 3, which is 6. Okay, so funnily enough, guys, we are going to, hang on, this doesn't make any sense. No, sorry, yeah, what am I doing? It is, sorry guys, I lost my mind for a second there. Pi r, the semicircle is pi r, which is pi times 3. Pi times 3, which is pi times 3 is 3 times pi, which is 9.425. 9.425. So the total length, the length is equal to this 21.713 plus 9.425, which gives me, this gives me, let's do it guys, plus 21.713, 31 point, well, he wants two significant figures, so 31.1, 31.1 dot 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 to two significant figures is just 31. So I'll put therefore 31. Is it centimeters? Yeah, 31 centimeters. And they've given us lots of space to do it. Okay, that was actually a 5-mark question, guys. So I didn't think it was that hard, but it was hard enough. Okay, question 10. A table gives information about the population and the total amount of money in dollars spent on healthcare for two countries, Austria and Luxembourg. Work out how much more was spent per person on healthcare in Luxembourg than in Austria. How much more per person? Okay, so the healthcare, let's do Austria. Austria. How much money do they spend on healthcare? 4.2 times 10 to the power of 10. Now, per person, that's a lot of money, guys. That's like 40 billion. But per person, we have to divide by the population. So we divide by 8.7 times 10 to the power of 6. And this equals, I can do this on my calculator, guys, because my calculator can cope. 4.2 times 10 to the power of 10 over 8.7 times 10 to the power of 6, which is 4827.59. Or let's just do 0.6. 4827.6. 4827.6. Okay, that's Austria. Luxembourg. Okay, Luxembourg, they spend 3.7 billion. 3.7 times 10 to the power of 9. Now they have a very small population, guys. If you know Luxembourg, it's a tiny country. So we divide by 6.3. This isn't even a million people. So 6.3 times 10 to the power of 5. Okay, this is 3.7 times 10 to the power of 9 over 6.3 times 10 to the power of 5. This gives me 5873.0. So let's just go 5873. 5873. So they spend more per person than them. How much more? Well, let's subtract and find out. 5873 minus 4827.6 equals minus 4827.6, 1045. He wants it to the nearest whole number, so let's just go approximately equal to approximately $1045. Yeah, there it is, 1045. Okay, question 11. Complete the table of values for y equals 6 over x. Right, guys, this is a very easy question. Why? Because we have a calculator and we can put into our table, here's the table, I can put 1 over, let's just do it like this, 1 over x, I'm sorry, 6 over x. 6 over x, press enter again, start range. Okay, just be careful, guys. We're going to start at 0.5 and we're going to have to go up by, sorry, we're going to end at 6 and we have to go up by 0.5, so otherwise it will miss all the whole numbers. So 0.5 is 12. Let's put in 12 here. Then we go to 2. 2 is 3. Then we go to 4 and 5. So 4. Sorry, what did I do there, guys? Sorry, 2 is. Sorry, 1 is 6. Oh yeah. So we got to be really careful here, guys. I'm looking at the x, not the number on the left. So 1 is 6, 2 is 3, 3 is 2, 4 is 1.5, and 5 is 1.2. So 1.5 and 1.2. Okay, then it says on the grid, draw this graph, right? So I basically have to put in these points. So I need 0.5, 12. 0.5 is going to be, this is 1, so that's 1, that's 3, that's 5, that's 6. 0.5 is bang in the middle of these two, which is a bit annoying, and it's 12, so it's exactly there. Okay, 1, 6 is going to be here. I go to 1 and then 6. 2, 3 is there. 3, 2 here. 4, 1.5. 4, 1.5. Right, 1.5 is bang in the middle there, because this, guys, is 1. So 1.5 is in the middle, and yet you do have to be pretty accurate. 5 is 1.2. So 1.2, these are going up in 0.2s, so it's right on that one there. And finally 6, 1 is somewhat easy. It's here, 6, 1. Okay. That now you have to join the dots very carefully, giving a nice smooth curve. I'll want to check, guys, if this works for me. Hang on. Okay, nice. Now I can do that. Okay, it's not nice, guys, because that actually, I think that makes a parabola, but so this actually won't do. You can, as I always say, draw this a lot better than me, but you're essentially going to join the dots, has to go through them all, and it's supposed to be a nice curve. So something like that, but better. You have to stop at here and here. If you go further like that, you'll lose a mark. So be very careful, because he says from 0.5 to 6. That's 0.5, that's 6. But easy question, but also easy to lose marks on. Okay, question 12. 2 vertical phone masts, A, B, and C, D. Work out the size of the angle of depression of B from D. Okay, angle of depression, guys. We go to D, and we draw a horizontal across. The angle of depression is the angle from this horizontal. So we go down from there, stop at B. This is the angle of depression. Let's call it X. That's better. X. Okay, so we need to find this angle. Now we have 6.2, we have 30.7. A few ways to do this, guys. I am going to join this across here. This is X. This is 30.7, so this is definitely 244 because of this. And this height here, I'll just use another color, why not? This height has to be 30.7 minus 6.2. Now, guys, it's very much not drawn to scale, so just be careful. This height here is 30.7. Let's just do it here. 30.7 minus 6.2. 30.7 minus 6.2 is, guys, my brain isn't working today, so I'm using my calculator. 30.7 minus 6.2 is 24.5. That makes sense. So this red value here is, what did I say? 24.5. 24.5. So now I have this. This is a right angle. This is 24.5. This is 244, just from here to here, because it's the same as obviously that. So now I have a triangle up here, opposite and adjacent, it's tan. So I'm going to say the tan of x is opposite 24.5 over adjacent 244. X is the inverse tan of this. X is the inverse tan, shift tan for inverse tan, fraction 24.5 over 244, close bracket, and I get 5.7338. 5.7338. He wants one decimal place. Let's go 5.7. So this is 5.7 degrees. Okay, question 13. A is this, B is this. A minus B times A plus B can be written in this form. Find the value of y, right? This doesn't look too easy, guys. Let's do A minus B first. A minus B. This is A root A plus 4 minus B, which is minus root A minus 4. Okay, this question might be easier than I think, guys, because this is equal to root 8 plus 4 minus root 8 plus 4, because minus times minus gives me plus. The root 8's cancel. Root 8 minus root 8 is 0, and I'm left with 4 plus 4, which is 8. Okay, nice. Then A plus B is going to be root 8 plus 4 plus root 8 minus 4. This time the 4's cancel, and I'm just left with 2 root 8. Okay, now I'm going to multiply these two together, guys, because it says this can be written in this form. This times this. So A minus B times A plus B is 8, because A minus B is 8, times 2 root 8. Okay, and this is equal to 16 root 8, because because 8 times 2 is 16. Now he wants it in this form, guys, right? So this is slightly tricky, right? Let's go over here where I have a bit more space. 16 root 8. Now note, he wants this as root 4 times something. So root 4 times y. Now I'm going to change this into 16 is, let's have a think, root 4 times root y. Okay, 16, guys, is root 16 is 16, right, let's leave the 16. 16 is 16. Root 8 is root 4 times root 2. Okay, now I have my root 2 here, and I have my 16 here, and I have my root 4. So I need root 4 times another root. Now I need it to times something that gives me the same thing here. So let us split 16 into I'm going to split 16 into 8 times, okay, this might work, guys. I'm going to split this into, right, this is, if I split these up, this is 16 root 8. Root 4 times root 2 is root 8. And then 16 is the same as 8, yeah, this will work, 8 times 2 root 8. So now I've got my 8s the same. And then this is equal to 8 times 2 is root 4 root 8, which is the same as 8 times root 4 times 8. All right, guys, that's actually quite confusing. Why on earth he wants us to write it like that, I don't know, but probably because he's just testing that you are able to split this up. Okay, so actually, yeah, guys, I could have skipped that step there because I just went backwards. So this is equal to this because 8 times 2 is 16. 2 is root 4 because I want to get my root 4 here, and then I can put these both in the same root. 4 times 8, therefore y is equal to 8. Okay, that's question 13. Question 14. A group of 60 students sat an algebra test and a geometry test. Each score was out of 110. This is the cumulative frequency graph. Okay, so first question. Use the graph to find an estimate of the median mark. Okay, we've 60 students, guys. The median is going to be 30, so we go straight to 30. We draw a line across and then down, and it should hit spot on this number here. These are going up in 2s, so it is 42, 4, 6, 8, 48. So the median score is 48. Then use the graph to find an estimate for the number of students who gained 58 marks or less. Okay, so now I got a 58 marks, not 48, guys. 58 marks is here, so 52, 4, 6, 8. That's 58 there. We go up and we go across. Sorry, up to there. Hang on, guys, I have to draw that again. Up to there and across, and these are going up in 1s, be careful. So that's 46. So we need to go, well, how many students scored 58 or less? Well, the answer is 46 because 46 students, that's what a cumulative frequency graph is. So the answer is 46, and that's only 1 mark. Okay, then it says use the graph to find an estimate for the interquartile range. Okay, interquartile range. So we need to find Q1. Q1, it's out of, there's 60 kids, so we divide 60 by 4 and we get 15. Go across and down. These numbers, they usually hit perfectly on one of the lines, guys. So that's 40. So Q1, that's Q1 is 40, and then to get Q3 we get 45 because 45 is 3/4 of 60 across and down, and this number is 56 here. So that is Q3 is 56. So the interquartile range is 56 minus 40. 56 minus 40, which is 16. So this is 56 minus 40, which is 16. Okay. Then he says the interquartile range of the marks gained in the geometry test is 9. Lewis says the students marked are more spread out in the algebra test than the geometry test. Is he correct? Yes, he is correct, because that's what the interquartile range helps us determine, which data are more spread out. And in this case, the algebra interquartile range, yes, because interquartile range for algebra is greater, it's bigger than interquartile range for geometry. Okay. To be awarded an A in the algebra test, a student had to gain a mark of 60, a mark greater than 64. 2 students are to be selected at random from the 60 students in the group. Use the graph to find an estimate for the probability that both of these students were awarded a grade A in the algebra test. Okay, so we need greater than 64. Okay, let's find 64. So 64 is here. This is 64. Let's go up and across. Okay, so this is 50. So how many students scored more than 64? Well, if this is 50, then more than 64 would be, sorry, this is 50, so more than 64 is 10. Approximately 10 students scored more than this. So the probability that the first student, it's 10 out of 60. So the probability that the first student scored, got an A is, let me just check that's correct, guys. Greater, to be awarded an A greater than 64. That's correct. 64, 50. Okay, sorry. Yeah, so this is 10. So it's 10 out of 60. 10 out of 60. That's how many students got an A. That's the probability that one student at random, 60. But we're now going to do 9 out of, because once we've taken the first student, now there's only 9 students left that got an A. So I do 9 out of, and again, it's not out of 60, it's out of 59, because I've taken that student. Away. So 10 out of 60 times 9 out of 59. What will that be, right? 10 out of 60, that's obviously 1 out of 6, but you can put 10 out of 60 times 9 out of 59, and that's 3 out of 118, which is correct. 3 out of 118, and that's the probability. Okay, question 15. Make t the subject. Okay, so first step, guys, definitely I want to get rid of this t cubed down here. How do I get rid of a denominator? Well, I multiply by that denominator. So it's t cubed times n squared equals 4d plus t cubed. This t cubed is gone because I've multiplied across. Then I get all the terms with t cubed in it on the left, which is t cubed n squared, this one, minus the t cubed, this one, subtracted to the other side, is equal to 4d. Then, this is probably the trickiest step, I factorize the t cubed. Take out the t cubed, and I'm left with n squared minus 1, because there's one t cubed here, and there's an n squared there, equals 4d. Then I get t cubed on its own by dividing both sides by n squared minus 1. So it's 4d over n squared minus 1. And then finally, if this is t cubed, to get t, I just get the cubed root of this. So it's the cubed root, make sure the 3 is in that, in the root, and it's 4d over n squared minus 1. Okay, question 16. Quadrilateral ABCD. The angle BCD is acute. Fine, that's an acute angle. Given the area of the triangle BCD is this, work out the size of angle ABD, right? So he wants this angle here. Okay, now the fact that he's told me this angle is acute, guys, tells me that we're going to need to find this angle. And let's call it theta. And the fact that he's given me the area of this triangle, and I can find the area using two sides and an angle between them, helps me now. Fine, let's get theta first. So I'm going to get that theta. And I'm going to get it using this formula, this area formula. It's a half AB sine C equals area. That's the formula. It's in the formula sheet. So I'm going to do a half. A is either of these two sides. Let's go 36. And B is the other one, 45. Doesn't matter which one you choose. And then it's sine of theta. So it's this times this times this. Well, a half this times the sine of the angle between them. And this is equal to the area, and we've been given the area, it's 405. Okay, now let's do the half times 36 times 45. So it's 0.5 times 36 times 45, which is 810. So this is 810 sine theta equals 405. Sine theta equals 405 over 810, which means theta is the inverse sine of that. So we do inverse sine, shift sine, inverse sine, this thing, then 405 over 810. Make sure you close the brackets, and we get 30. Okay, good. So guys, he said it's a nice angle. He said it's an acute angle just because it could be using the sine rule 150 degrees too if it was obtuse, but it's not, so let's not worry about that for now. So this angle is 30 degrees. Okay, now to get this angle, guys, to get this angle, ideally I want to use either the sine rule, which would be the sine of this over this equals sine of one of these two angles, but I don't have one of these two angles, so I can use the cosine rule. Now I don't have this side, but using the cosine rule in this triangle, I can get this side y, and then I can use the cosine rule again to get this angle. Hope that makes sense. Now I'm assuming, guys, if I look at the number of marks, yeah, I was going to say this has to be like a 5 marker because there's a lot of work here. I have to use the area rule, and I'm going to have to use the cosine rule twice. Okay, cosine rule to find a side. It is y squared, this squared, equals this squared plus this squared, 36 squared plus 45 squared, minus 2 times 36 times 45 times cos 30. That is the cosine rule. 30, because this is 30. And then I can say y squared equals, and I'll do all this in one go, 36 squared plus 45 squared minus 2 times 36 times 45 times cos 30, close brackets, and we've got 515.077 something, 515.07. I'll just do dot dot dot, because now I'm just going to get y by doing the square root of the answer. Common mistake, guys, is people forget to square root the cosine rule. If you look at the answer, obviously that doesn't make sense, that would be 515. Okay, the square root of the answer is 22.695. So this is 22.695. Okay, I'm going to put a line here. So now I've got y. So to get x, I'm going to use the cosine rule again. Now guys, if I just go back to here, they give me the cosine rule in this form, but they don't give it in the rearranged form. So I'm actually just going to show you how to rearrange this formula, and it's probably worth just remembering that formula. So if the cosine rule is, I'll write it up here, a squared, I think they start with a, guys, but it doesn't matter which, as long as you use the letter matches up with the angle. So a squared equals b squared. Actually, guys, I just do want to make sure I have the same letter that they use. They use a squared. Okay, yes, fine. So I'm going to do a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2 times b times c times cos a. That's the important thing, that these two are the opposite. They're opposite each other. That's the angle and that's the opposite side. Now if I rearrange this, I can basically add this is like a whole term. I'm going to add this to the left, so that's 2bc cos a, b squared plus c squared, and I'm going to subtract this from the other side. And then finally, I'm just going to divide by 2bc. Cos A equals b squared plus c squared minus a squared all over 2bc. So I tell my students, guys, to just remember this one. This is not given in the formula booklet, but this is not given in the formula booklet, but you can learn it. If you understand the rearranging, then obviously you can just do the rearrangement during the question. But this is the formula for when you need to find the angle. Okay, and then importantly, the B and C it doesn't matter which is B and which is C, but the A has to be the one opposite the angle. So if I'm trying to find X here, the opposite side, the 28, is the side you subtract. So let me just show you to be clear. I'm doing cos of X is equal to b squared plus c squared. So that's this one. B squared plus c squared. That is this. Let me just show you. This and this is B and C. And then the opposite side, this one, is A. Okay, so b squared plus c squared, 19 squared plus, and now I have y, it's 22.695 squared, minus a squared, that's my 28 squared, all over 2bc, which is 2 times 19 times 22.695. And then once you have that, you can go straight to finding the angle using inverse cos. So you just go inverse cos fraction, and you can put all this in one go. 19 squared plus 22.695 squared minus 28 squared over 2 times 19 times 22.695, close brackets, press enter, and we get 83.87. So X is 83.87. I'll just go dot dot dot. He wants one decimal place, which is equal to 83.9, and that's correct. Okay, obviously, guys, a tricky question. Right, question 17. Part of the curve of y equals f of x is shown. Find an estimate for the gradient of the curve at the point where x equals 2. Show you're working clearly. Okay, so when x is 2, guys, we're at this point here. Now, we need to, let me just change the color. We need to draw, to get an estimate of the gradient at that point, we need to draw a tangent to the curve. Now I'm gonna, and this, guys, will be easier for you with your ruler, because you put your ruler down before you draw it. Okay, that's actually not bad. And you draw a tangent like that. And then you get the gradient of this tangent. Now be careful, guys, because the scale of the x and the y is different. So you want to essentially just get some points. So this point here is 2, 1. And then we may as well go to 3. This point here is 3.1. Let's say 3.2, because these were 1.2s. 3.2. And then I go, how many marks is this, guys? This is 3 marks. Okay, fine. So I need to find the gradient of that. The gradient, let's say m, is equal to y2 minus y1. Well, let's write the formula. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. y2 is 3.2. y1 is 1 over x2 is 3. x1 is 2. That works out quite nicely, guys, because the denominator is 1. 3.2 minus 1 is 2.2. And that's kind of bang in the middle of what they said is an acceptable range. They said accept anything from 1.5 to 3. So that's pretty good. Okay, question 18. The line this intersects the curve with equation this. Find the coordinates of A and B, right? This is, guys, a simultaneous equation with one equation that's not linear. So I would call this, even though there's a lot of different words in this, it is a familiar question. It's hard, but we've seen this. This comes up pretty much once every exam session, like once between 2 papers. So we need to sub this into this. Okay, this one's slightly harder because we've 2y equals x plus 1. We have to rearrange this one to get either x and y on their own. I think the easiest thing to do, guys, you could divide by 2, but it's probably easier to avoid fractions by just subtracting 1, and then you have x equals 2y minus 1. Okay, now, instead of x, we put this. So this is x, but this is x, and this is x. So we're going to put that instead of x. That's it. Okay, so it's 3y squared plus 7y plus 16 equals, instead of x, 2y minus 1. So it's 2y minus 1 squared, because that's squared, minus brackets 2y minus 1. Brackets, very important here, guys, because that's minus 1 here. Okay, multiply these out. 3y squared. Sorry, guys, I don't know why I kind of didn't go straight there. Whatever. Okay, 3y squared plus 7y plus 16 equals. Multiply this out. Do it at the side, guys. 2y minus 1 times 2y minus 1. It's first times the first. This times this, this times this, this times this, and this times this. You get 4y squared minus 4y plus 1. And then this, be careful, becomes minus 2y plus 1, because minus times minus is plus. Okay, now I am going to, guys, bring everything to the right, just because my y squared term is bigger on the right. So I do 4y squared minus 3y squared is 1y squared. I do minus 4y minus 2y is minus 6y. Minus 7y is minus 13y. And then 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 minus 16 is minus 14. So, guys, just make sure I've perhaps skipped a step there. Just make sure you understand how I did that. Okay, now I need to find y. So I'll just do it over here like this, guys. Y squared minus 13y minus 14. I'll just put the 0 on the right. Okay, to solve this, you could use your calculator, guys, but it's quite easy to factorize because it's just y and y. It's y and y, because that gives me y times y is y squared, and the factors of 14 that give me negative 13 has to be 14 and 1. So 14 and 1, and this is negative and this is negative, so the sign, this being negative means the signs are different, and this being negative means the big one has to be minus, so it's minus 14 plus 1, which means y minus 14 equals 0, because this is 0, or y plus 1 equals 0, hence y equals 14, or y is equal to negative 1. Okay, so I have my y's. Now all I need to find is my x's. When y is 14, x equals 2y minus 1 because of this. So it's 2 times 14 minus 1. 28 minus 1 is 27. And here, x equals 2 times minus 1, which is minus 2 minus 1, which is minus 3. So my two coordinates, the coordinates of A and B, are, just make sure, guys, you put the x first. So it's 27, 14, and minus 3 minus 1. Okay, question 19. ABCD is a rectangular field. Okay, so this is a rectangular field, guys. These are right angles. It's hard to visualize because this whole thing's in 3 dimensions. Okay, so this is a field. This is a vertical pole. We're given these lengths. It says calculate the size of the angle between EC and the plane. Okay, so to get the angle between EC and the plane, we go from E to C, obviously, from E to C, and then we go back essentially under E. We have to go directly under E, and we're trying to find that angle here. Now, guys, as I say, it's hard to visualize, but this triangle here is a right angled triangle. This is a right angle. It's like you're looking from the corner of a pitch to one of the floodlights at the top of the corner of the pitch. So that's a right angle. Okay, now that 8 meters is this. The 12 meters is the height, fine. But this triangle, I'm now going to actually draw it again over here. And I'm going to draw it this time with a right angle so you can kind of get a better visual of what's happening. Okay, so this is E, this is A, and this is C. And we're trying to get the angle ECA. This is a right angle here, and this length I know is 12 because that's the height. What I don't know is, well, I don't know either of the other lengths. Now I can find this one. The way I'm going to find this length is through by using this triangle here. And this triangle, I'm going to shade it, guys, blue. Okay, this blue triangle here is going to be this triangle here. Okay, this is a right angle. This is A, B, C. This is 18. And this, guys, is 8 because that's 8 there. It's a rectangle, so this is 8 here. So I can find this length, let's call it X, using Pythagoras' theorem. So this is this shaded triangle. Okay, so let's say x squared equals 18 squared plus 8 squared. That's Pythagoras' theorem. This squared equals this squared plus this squared. X is then the square root of 18 squared plus 8 squared, and that is, calculator please, the square root of 18 squared plus 8 squared, 2 root 97, let's just go with a decimal, 19.697, let's go 8, 19.698, 19.698. Okay, so that's the length AC. So that means this length here is 19.698. It's this length, 19.698. Okay, and now I have, let's just call this angle theta, guys. I have this side and this side. It's a right angle triangle. I can find the angle using TOA, opposite adjacent. So I can say the tan of theta is opposite over adjacent, 19.698. Theta is then the inverse tan of this, inverse tan 12 over 19.698, close brackets, 31.349, 31.3497, 31.3497. 497. Okay, now guys, interestingly, when I round to one decimal place, the answer is 31.4, but I'm going to get 31.3. Now the reason that that's happened is because I rounded here. Do you remember I rounded to 19.698? Well, why don't we round to 6977? I'm going to change that to 77, and I'm going to change that to 77, and we'll see if we do get the right answer. You could have just left it in surd form, but let's just see if this works. 7 theta is then the inverse tan of this, and now we do get it. Okay, so that kind of highlights, guys, the importance of not rounding too much in the middle of the question. So it's 31.3501, 31.3501 to one decimal place is 31.4, because of the 5 I round up to 4. You could have, guys, obviously have just left this as 2 root 97, and that's probably the best way to do it. If you leave it like that and then put 2 root 97 here, you'll definitely get the right answer. Okay, that's question 19. Question 20. Y is inversely proportional to root x, and x is directly proportional to t cubed, given that y is this and t is this. Okay, so we have, guys, to start with, this, by the way, is tricky because, well, he's given us two different ones. So let's just start with y. Y is inversely proportional to root x. So that means y is equal to, we put in this constant of proportionality, some constant, don't care what it is for now. Y is k over root x, because it's inversely, we put the root x underneath the line. And then it says x is directly, so because it's directly, we don't put the t cubed underneath the line, we put it over the line. And I need to use a different constant, let's use a. It's equal to a times t cubed, some constant. So this is a constant of proportionality, and this is a constant of proportionality. I don't know what they are. Okay, now he gives us y when t is 25. So I need to connect y and t and basically get rid of this x. So instead of the root x, I'm going to put in a t cubed. So I can say y is equal to k over the square root of a t cubed. Okay, now this is the tricky bit. I can then say I'm going to create a new constant of proportionality, because I don't need to calculate a or k, because they're just two constants. Don't know what they are. So what I can say is that y is actually equal to another constant. Let's call it b, and b would actually be k over root a. But as I say, I'm not too bothered about what these are, but I'll just put b at the top here, and I'll say b over the square root of t cubed, like that. Okay, now that's obviously confusing, guys. So to simplify it, I would say, well, if y is inversely proportional to root x, and x is directly proportional to t cubed, then y is inversely proportional to t cubed. And you could actually have started straight out with y equals k over t cubed if you wanted to. The fact that I already used k here, and by the way, you'd get marks for writing this, meant I needed to do a different letter. But you could have started with, root t cubed if you wanted to, or that would have been fine. But let's continue with this. Okay, so y is equal to b over t cubed, some constant b. And he says y is 8. Okay, y is 8 when t is 25. So I'm going to do b over the square root of 25 cubed. Now, guys, you can do this in your calculator. I'm going to surprise you and tell you that this is actually equal to 125. definitely use your calculator. The way I've done it quickly is I said the square root of 25 is 5, and 5 cubed is 125. And then I'm going to multiply across, so b is equal to 8 times 125, which is actually, again, use your calculator if you want, but it's equal to 1,000. So b is equal to 1,000. So now I can come back to here and say, right, b is 1,000, so y is equal to 1,000. Instead of b over root t cubed, it's 1,000 over root t cubed. And he says, okay, as if this isn't hard enough, he says find the exact value of t when y is 27. So I need to find t when y is 27. So I'm going to sub 27 in for y. It's 1,000 over root t cubed. I'm going to multiply across, so I get root t cubed equals, and I am going to divide by 27. So it's 1,000 over 27. Then I am going to if I have the square root of t cubed, so I'm going to square both sides. So t cubed is equal to, if I square this side, I get rid of the square root. I'm going to square this side. Now, obviously, guys, that's a massive number, this square, so I'll just leave it squared. And then I'm going to get the cubed root of this. So t, let me move it up a little bit. So t is equal to the cubed root of 1,000. And by the way, guys, I can just do these. 1,000 squared is 1,000,000. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 27 squared. 27 squared, guys, is 27 times 27 is 729. And that's actually a very nice number, guys, because the cube root of 1,000,000 is 100, because 100 times 100 times 100 is 1,000,000, and the square root of, the cube root of 729 is 9. If you don't believe me, check your calculator. So the answer is question 20, 100 over 9. Okay, question 21. The diagram shows a solid made from a cylinder and a hemisphere. Okay, we have a cylinder, a hemisphere on top. The radius is x. So guys, that means that this is also x. Here, this is also x. And then obviously this is x, because it's all just the same radius. He says the total surface area is 81 pi. The mass of the solid is this. The following table gives the density, right? So this is obviously a very tricky, long question, guys. Density of 4 metals. We need to determine which metal is used to make the solid. Show your working clearly. Okay, so guys, they've given you like, look, 2 pages. It's 6 marks. I'm going to do my working squashed in and around here so I can refer to the diagrams. But as always, guys, you show your working at the bottom. So, okay, the way we're going to do it is this. Essentially, the density is mass over volume. We need to know that. And if you didn't know that, you can look in here, guys. Look, it says grams per centimeters cubed. That's mass per volume. So mass over volume. Okay, we have the mass. This is the mass. It's 840. So all we need to do is find the volume and then do this divided by the volume and see which one of these we get. That's the answer. How do I find the volume? I need x. And then finally, how do I find x? Well, I'm going to use the piece of information they've given us, which is this, the total surface area. Okay, so as I said, guys, difficult question. We are going to get the surface area. So the surface area, I'm going to refer to the cylinder as surface area sil, and I'll do the hemisphere surface area hem, something like that, right? So the surface area of the cylinder is 2 pi or h, that is the surface area, the curved surface area of the cylinder, plus pi r squared, that is the area of the circle at the bottom. There is no area of the circle at the top because the hemisphere is on top of it, so you don't see that circle. Okay, the surface area of the hemisphere is 2 pi r squared. Now, how do I know that? Well, the surface area of a sphere surface area is 4 pi r squared. That's in the formula sheet at the start. Just half it, because it's a hemisphere. Hemisphere is half a sphere. Half it gives me 2 pi r squared. Okay. So the total surface area equals this plus this. Now this is pi r squared plus 2 pi r squared, so that would be 3 pi r squared. So it's 2 pi r h plus 3 pi r squared. Okay, now we have r and we have h in terms of x. So I'm going to say 2 times pi. The radius is x, the height is 3x, and plus 3 times pi times x squared, because r is x. This is the total surface area in terms of x. And he says this equals 81 pi. So this equals 81 pi. Now, nicely, one thing I can do, guys, is divide everything by pi. So the pi disappears. And now I'm left with 6x squared. That's 6x squared plus 3x squared equals 81. 6 plus 3 is 9x squared equals 81. X squared is equal to 9. So x is equal to, I'll just write it here, guys, x is equal to 3, the square root of 9. Okay, so now we have x equals 3. Great. Next thing I need is to find the volume. So the volume, and again I'm going to break it up into cylinder and surface area. The volume of cylinder, sil, is equal to pi r squared h, which is pi times the radius is now 3, and the height is 3 times 3, which is 9, because this equals 9. And that gives me 3 squared is 9, 9 times 9 is 81, so that's 81 pi. And the volume of the hemisphere is equal to, the volume of a sphere, guys, is 4 over 3. A sphere is 4 over 3 pi r cubed in the formula sheet. Half of that is 2 over 3 pi r cubed, because it's a hemisphere. 2 over 3 pi r cubed. And we know that's 2 over 3 pi. We know the radius, it's 3. That's 3 cubed. Simplify this. 2 over 3 times 27 is actually 18 pi. You can do that on the calculator if you want, guys. That would be 18 pi. So the total volume, total V is equal to, the total volume is equal to, well, that's 81 pi plus 18 pi, which is 99 pi. So the total volume is 99 pi. So I'm going to do my 840 divided by 99 pi. Therefore, density is equal to 840 over 99 pi. Let's do that. 840 divided by 99 pi. Keep everything in terms of pi, guys. You can turn it into decimals if you want. And this gives me 2.7008, which is this one. So that's 2.7 equals 2.7. It's 2.7 to two decimal places, so it's 2.7. So it's therefore, which metal is it? Well, it's this one. Therefore, aluminium. He says, determine the metal. It's aluminium. Aluminium. Okay. Difficult question. Question 22. ABC is a triangle. Angle ABC is 90 degrees. And we have, okay, we're given these coordinates. Gradient of AC is -6/7. Work out the value of P and the value of Q. Okay. So we're not too sure how this looks, guys, on the grid, although we know B is, that's the one coordinate that we do know. Let's put B here. B is -1, -5. Now I'm not going to draw the grid, guys, because I'm not too sure where everything is going to go. But so this is B, and A, let's put it, so we know A, the Y coordinate is above B, so it's up here somewhere. And C, we know the X coordinate is to the right of the X coordinate of B. So C is over here somewhere, and A is up here somewhere. Let's just put it like, I don't know, I don't want to be directly above it, so let's just go here. This is going to be A, which is P10, and then this angle here is a right angle there. Okay, now it does say the gradient of AC is -6/7, which is actually close to 1, so I might as well make it somewhat close to 1. Or, sorry, -1. All right, that's not great, but it's fine. So this is my diagram. Now, as I say, this diagram doesn't have to be perfect. The important thing to note is that that is a right angle. Okay, so it says the gradient of AC is, sorry, this is A, and then this is C. The gradient of AC is -6/7. Work out the value of P and the value of Q. So we've two variables, and generally, this isn't always true, but generally if I have two variables and I need to find, or two unknowns and I need to find them both, I need two equations. So to find the two equations, well, the first equation, I will use this bit of information that they've given us here, that the gradient of AC is -6/7. Okay, so I'll do MAC, that's the gradient of AC, is equal to y2 minus y1, let's just write that, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, that's the gradient formula. Y2 is Q, so this would be my x1, y1, x2, y2. Now I'll remove that, guys, because I'm going to be doing it again with different ones. So anyway, y2 is Q, y1 is 10, x2 is 8, and x1 is P, and this is equal to -6/7 because he tells us the gradient is -6/7. Okay, I'm going to cross multiply, guys. I'm going to do -6 times 8 minus P equals 7 times Q minus 10. Hope you're all okay with that. Just multiply across by this to get rid of this denominator, and multiply across by 7 to get rid of the 7 denominator. Multiply this out, -48 plus 6P equals 7Q minus 70. Now, guys, this is obviously going to be a really hard question, but everyone can certainly get to here, and I think that's worth a mark. So, in fact, let's check how many marks this whole thing is worth. It's worth 5 marks. There's 2 pages. Yeah, it's going to be a long question, but we can all get this for sure. Okay, I'll rearrange it. It's just so to have everything equal 0. So I'll keep my 6P. I will minus the 7Q to the left, and I will add the 70 to the left, which gives me -48 plus 70 is plus 22 equals 0. So that's one equation. Let's keep that. That is equation 1. I'm going to just highlight it. Equation 1. Okay. The second equation that I can get is to note, guys, if this is perpendicular. So this is 90 degrees. So bear in mind, I'm using this. I used this bit of information for my first equation. Now, I haven't actually used the fact that ABC is 90 degrees yet obviously it's important because they wouldn't have told me otherwise. So let's use it now. I can use this to form an equation because I can say the gradient MAB is equal to, or let's say, okay, let's do it like this. It's equal to minus 1 over the gradient of BC. Now, why can I do that? Well, that's because the perpendicular gradients is equal. It's the negative reciprocal of the other gradient. So that's why if you have a gradient of 3 over 4, or let's go minus 6 over 7, the perpendicular gradient is 7 over 6, positive, and the reciprocal, you flip it, which is this. So that's my kind of, well, that's the start of the equation that I'm going to make. So let's get MAB and MBC. So MAB, same method, is y2 minus y1, so minus 5 minus 10 over x2 minus x1 minus 1 minus p, which is minus 15, sorry, minus 1 minus p, minus 1 minus p, which is negative 15 over minus 1 minus p. Okay, and the gradient of BC is equal to y2, now this is y2 minus y1, so it's q minus negative 5, be careful, over 8 minus negative 1, be careful there too, which is q plus 5 over 8 plus 1, which is 9. Okay, so the point I was making here is that these two, they're not equal, but is equal to the negative reciprocal. So I am going to say that, and guys, actually, I'm going to do the negative reciprocal of AB because that's the one that looks, although actually I could make this positive. In fact, I will, guys, I probably should have done that first. Let me just show you this one thing. Instead of minus 15 over minus 1 minus p, let's just go 15 over 1 plus p. I can do that because I multiply above and below by negative 1, and this becomes positive, and both of these become positive. Okay, so now AB is this, and BC is equal to this. So I can say, I'll put therefore, MAB, which is my 15 over 1 plus p, is equal to this, the reciprocal of this. The 1 over this actually just turns this upside down. So it's going to be 9 over q plus 5, but negative. So I flip that upside down and make it negative because that's what the perpendicular gradient does. And now I can multiply across and make an equation. So I can do, and I'll just scroll down, guys, to give me more space. So multiply across here, 15 times q plus 5 equals minus 9 times 1 plus p. Multiply it out, 15q, sorry guys, this is 5. Something is wrong with my pen. Okay, 15q plus 15 times 5 is 75 equals minus 9 minus 9 p. Just be very careful, guys, with your 9s and your q's. I always put a little kind of tail at the end of the q. Okay, same thing, we'll make everything put everything on the left, add the 9p here, so it's going to be 9p plus 15q, and then plus 75 plus the 9 is plus 84. Plus 84 is equal to 0. So this is my other equation. Now I've got two equations, two unknowns. I just have to solve them simultaneously. Now what I'll do first, guys, is, and bear in mind you do need to show some working, but let's just solve it with the calculator first to check if we are right. Although in an exam you can put the answer down first and then you can go back and show your working. So it's a simultaneous equation. So one, number of unknowns is 2, They use x and y, so we're going to say x is p and y is q. So this is 6, -7, and 22. Sorry, wrong way around. That would have to be, sorry, I need to go back, guys. It's -22 because the calculator puts it in x plus y equals -22. Similarly here, it'll be 9, it'll be 15, and it will be -84. Okay, press enter, and you get x is -6 and y is -2. Now that's actually the correct answer, which is good news for me. Now you wouldn't know that in an exam, but it does look like a nice whole number. So x is -6 and y is -2. So you can, down here you can write p is equal to -6, p is equal to -6, and q is equal to -2. And then we need to show our working. So the way we'll do it is over here. We need to make one of these the same, guys. Let's make the p's the same. So I'm going to multiply this by 3. So I'm going to say 18p minus 21q plus 66 equals 0. I've multiplied them all by 3. Multiply this one by 2. Gives me 18p plus 30q plus 168, which is this times 2. This is equal to 0. Put a line underneath. These are the ones I'm going to eliminate. The sign is the same, so I'm going to subtract. Put the subtraction in a circle because I'm going to subtract all of these. This minus this is 0. It's gone. This minus this is minus 51q. And this minus this, I can use my calculator, guys, 66 minus 168. 66 minus 168 is minus 102. That's a nice number, guys, because 51 goes into 102. That's equal to 0. Minus 51q equals 102. Add this to the other side. Then divide by minus 51. 102 divided by minus 51 is -2. Then once I have q is equal to -2, I can use whichever one of these I want. Let's actually just use this one. Therefore, 9p plus 15 times q, which is -2. I'm doing this one, guys, but q is -2, plus 84 equals 0. 9p minus 30, 15 times 2 is 30, plus 84 equals 0. 9p minus 30 plus 84 is plus 54 equals 0. 9p is equal to -54. P is equal to -6. This divided by 9. So we have our q is -2 and our p is -6. I've already put it here, so we are done. Okay, tricky question. Final question. Question 23. Functions f and g are defined as this. H is fg of x. We're given the domain. Express the inverse function h minus 1 in this form. Okay, so we need to find the inverse function of h, but first we need to find h. And the way we do it is we get, so h of x is fg, it's fg of x. And the way we get fg of x is we sub g of x, this, into f, into that, instead of x. So instead of x, I put x squared minus 12x. And then we add the 25 plus 25. Okay, so that's h of x. Now to get the inverse function, we let y equal x squared minus 12x plus 25. And then we swap x and y. Now do this, guys, because you almost always get a mark just for swapping x and y. So I get x equals y squared minus 12y plus 25. Now why do we swap the y and the x? Well, because that's what the inverse function is. And the normal function is what you put in an x and you get out a y. Well, the inverse function is, well, what you put in the y and you get out the x. That's essentially what's happening. Okay, so the way we get the inverse of a quadratic, guys, is we have to complete the square. Now, that's one of the trickier skills in IGCSE, but let me do it here now. I can do it quite nicely on my calculator, guys, but let me show you how to do it without the calculator, because this one's quite easy. I can just go y minus 6. I half this. This only works when there's no number here, or when that is a 1. So I half the minus 12 to give me minus 6. I square this. I have to subtract 36. I subtract this squared. Whether it's positive or negative, I subtract it, because by squaring this, I've got a new 36, so I need to subtract the 36. Anyway, then I add 25, and this gives me x equals y minus 6 squared minus 36 plus 25 is minus 11. Okay, now I need to rearrange to get y. So I'm just going to go up here, guys. X equals y minus 6 squared minus 11. I'm going to add the 11, so x plus 11 equals y minus 6 squared. I'm going to square root both sides, so I get y minus 6 equals square root x plus 11. And finally, I'm going to add the 6, so y is equal to 6 plus or minus, because this, guys, is plus or minus root x plus 11. Okay, so my y, let's just write it this way. Y is 6 plus or minus root x plus 11. Now this is the final part of it. I think that's actually not too bad, but to get the final mark, this bit is tricky. It says the domain of H is this. Now that means, when you read that, that means the range of H minus 1 is H minus 1 of x is less than or equal to 6, because the domain of the function is the same as the range of the inverse function, and that's also related to the fact that the x has become the y and the y has become the x. So the range of this function is less than or equal to 6. That means that this thing here has to be less than 6. And if the only way this thing can be less than 6 is if we subtract the root x plus 11 instead of add it. So I'm just going to write here h minus 1 of x is less than or equal to 6. Therefore, h minus 1 of x is equal to 6 minus the square root of x plus 11. And that, guys, is the final answer. Oh, there it is. Well, you can obviously write that there. That's the final question. The paper is finished. Hope it went well, guys. Let me know in the comments what you thought, and I'll see you in the next video.